Joe B's Football Monday call-in on a Friday is brought to you by Empire City Casino. Winners play here by Approved Oil. Lock in your low oil rate at freezerate.com and by HL Gross Jewelers of Garden City. For the first time in over a month, this conversation is after a Jet victory. Mm-hmm. Joe, how are we feeling today, bro?
Well, let me tell you this. After Corley put the ball on the ground on the 2-yard line and didn't score that touchdown, I said, there's no way. This is going to be another, butt fumble, fake spike, something like that. I thought there was no way they were winning the game. So, for them to come back and really overcome a lot of mistakes. I mean, the roughing the kicker penalty on Charles, the stupid penalty on when he kicked the center on the field goal, which actually wound up working out for them. The holding penalty on Fastener, who I actually thought played pretty good. He played guard.
First time ever. He'd never played guard.
Right. I actually thought he played a pretty decent game, even though he had that holding penalty. For them to overcome all of that and win this game, I thought was very un-Jet-like.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Because you're right. When Corley puts that ball on the ground, and then we got to sit there over review and wait to see, did anybody pick it up?
Yeah.
Did anybody have the state of mind to, hey, let me just pick up the football just in case? For that to go the other way, and then for 2 drives later, for Joe Mixon to look like Jim Brown, and for them to march down the field, you're right. It felt like this was just a typical embarrassment on a primetime level for the Jets.
Yeah, and then, look, the second half, they were a different team. I'll tell you one thing. Obviously, the 2 great catches by Garrett Wilson. I mean, that was a Odell Beckham-type catch. What a great, great catch. But you look at what they got right now at wide receiver on the outside with him and Adams. I mean, they got something pretty good there. I mean, Adams had a terrific game as well. He did drop that one pass before halftime, but he certainly made up for it. That 4th down catch where they had to come out of the game for the concussion protocol, and then of course the game-sealing touchdown. So there's some things there, and I thought the offensive line played pretty well. They ran the ball a little better, even though the running game still could be better than it is. Mm-hmm. And you look, Rodgers after a bad start. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Devontae Adams on the first play of the game. That might have been a touchdown. I don't know where he threw the ball out of bounds. So it took him a little while to get going, but once they did, they wound up winning the game. We'll take it. Take it.
I agree. And I give credit to Todd Downing and Nate, whoever else was in charge of the game plan, because they were getting a ton of man coverage. And if you're going to get man coverage, just throw it up. Seriously. Our receivers, meaning the Jets, are better than your defenders. One of whom is a rookie in Kamari Lassiter. And I know the other kid on the other side, Stingley's a stud, but take your chances, right? Throw it up. And you give them credit for making those plays. The only thing I worry about, Joe, is they're not going to be there every week. You're not going to be able to do that every week. Right. Get chunk plays, 20 yards, 30 yards for touchdowns after a horrible first half. So, yes, it's a great win. It keeps you in the hunt, so to speak, for a postseason berth. But, man, it was ugly for a lot of this game, Joe.
No, it was extremely ugly. The first half was absolutely brutal. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, it was unwatchable on both sides.
Yes. No, I agree. Well, both sides unwatchable. And let's give the defense some credit. They still can't stop the run. And as I'm watching the game, I'm saying to myself, why would Houston ever throw the ball here? You know what? They couldn't protect Stroud all night long. 8 sacks by the Jets last night. I mean, that was certainly an encouraging theme. Even Michael Clemens got a couple sacks, unbelievable. But that was certainly encouraging. But the one thing that bothered me, and it's something they got to shore up next week against Kyler Murray. Stroud had a lot of runs, okay, and I know, and he's not a runner. He's not a running quarterback, and he had a lot of big runs. Even that last drive, he ran for about 30 yards. You're not going to get away with that with Kyler Murray. I'll tell you that.
And that's been a problem. I mean, you go back to last week against New England before May got hurt. It was actually on the play May got hurt.
That's right.
They were letting him beat him with the legs. Even Jacoby Brissett made a big play with his legs. They got a clip. But you know what I thought? I thought of you with this, because one thing that's very frustrating with this defense, they had gone what felt like forever without forcing a turnover. And the Quinnen Williams force and Will McDonald recovering it, and that was as they were driving early in the game. It's nice to see this defense finally force a freaking turnover.
Well, Quinnen Williams had a tremendous game, and it's really 2 weeks in a row now that he has. I was likening him to Muhammad Wilkerson 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Maybe he heard me. I don't know. But because he had a big game in New England, and he certainly had a big game yesterday. How about after he forces the fumble? And they got nothing out of it, but still, after he forces the fumble.
Brees
puts, oh, my God. I'm screaming. He was so lucky to get that ball back, He really was.
Thank God he did. That would have been the ultimate response to forcing a turnover. Brees puts the ball on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sauce has got to play better, boy. Have you missed that one tackle on Schultz down the sideline? Could he tackle him? Could he wrap him up?
Joe, I think it's a bigger thing. Someone called earlier and asked about why the Jets can't stop the run. It's partly because teams are attacking their edges, and when you have edge rushers who want to get to the quarterback, it's almost easier to run at them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so teams attack their edges, but they also don't tackle.
No, absolutely.
It's bad. Even Quincy Williams missed on the touchdown.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He had Joe Mixon dead. Now, Joe Mixon's a load. Like, he's thick. Like, he's heavy, and he's hard to tackle, but he had him dead to rights, and he missed. They're tackling very poorly these last few weeks.
Yeah, their tackling has not been good. I couldn't agree with you more. But we'll see. Let's see where they go from here. We'll see. We'll see if they get Vera Tucker back. He's hurt all the time. I mean, I don't know if he's going to play next week. Lazard's on IR now, so I guess Mike Williams is going to stay here. And I guess they're going to have to use Corley more. They're going to have to use this kid.
Well, they can use him more. I did have a problem that after he makes that boneheaded mistake, he should have been off the field.
Yeah.
For him to get back on the field.
He didn't see the ball again.
He didn't see the ball again, but he should. Honestly, his jersey should have come off, and they should have benched him for the rest of the game.
He played 7 more plays.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, look, it was absolutely. I remind me of Leon Lett in the Super Bowl, except the big difference was Don Beebe actually knocked the ball out of his hands. Nobody knocked the ball out of Corley's hands.
Well, Tiki brought up a great point. I didn't even think about it. You're a rookie. You're scoring your first touchdown.
Right.
Why are you giving up the ball? Should be holding it in your body so you can bring it home after the game.
You know what I'm thinking? Case. Here's what I was thinking, Teak. Who the hell are you, Malachi Corley, to not just get in the end zone and hand the ball to the official?
Right.
Right.
But I mean,
you know what I mean?
The thing in the NFL is that you can keep those balls, right? It's your team's ball. Like it's the Jets football. The Texans have their own, slew of football. So it's your football. Keep it. Go to the sideline and say, hey, equipment guy, wrap my name around this thing. I'm sleeping with this ball tonight. And he's just like, forget it. It's a loaf of bread. Drop it off at the corner.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. I mean, and you could tell, as he was doing it, I'm like, boy, I don't know. Did he cross the goal line with the ball? Oh, my God.
And you're right, man, because watching that, it's like, this is unbelievable. It's going to be typical Jets in prime time of all times, because that kind of crap happens at 1 o'clock. We're all pissed off, but it kind of goes away. Right. Yeah, when it happens while everyone's watching, like the Sam Darnold ghost game, it just becomes, or the Mark Sanchez butt fumble.
Right.
It lives in history.
Yeah, of course.
Luckily, they won, so it went away.
That's it. I mean, that covered it. The victory covered everything. But, look, we'll see where they are now. I mean, I'm not getting crazy about it. I mean, it's nice to win a game. Win the next one. They got 8 games left. They made an interesting point during the game last night. I think it was Herb Street that said it. 2 teams last year actually came back from 3-6 to make the playoffs.
Right.
I think Cleveland was one. I'm not sure who the other one was. We could look at. I mean, I think Cleveland was one. I'm not sure who the other one was, but he did say 2 teams came back from 3-6. So look, it's not impossible.
Yeah, but Cleveland definitely was one because that was, remember, the Joe Flacco.
Right. That's right. Right. But now they got to win next week. They still got 8 games to play. So win next week, and let's see where we go from here.
Do you have confidence they will?
I don't have confidence at all. I mean, why should I?
No, I don't
they are what their record says they are. I think the Cardinals are a very tough team. Look, they could lose to everybody. They got the Colts after that. Hopefully they'll flex that game to 1 o'clock, and it's not another night game. But I mean, let's see. My confidence lies in the fact that offensively, you still got he's not the guy he once was, but you still got far more competent quarterback play than we've had in a long time with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And we got weapons now. I mean, I like to see Breece Hall more involved in the passing game than he is. He did drop one on that first series, but, and we got to run better. I mean, to me, they got to run the ball better. They don't run the ball well enough, in my mind.
There was one play, and it got erased, that gave me some confidence, a little bit of confidence moving forward. And it was right before that Garrett Wilson catch on a 3rd and 9. Aaron Rodgers ran for 12 yards.
Yeah.
And he was pumped up. And
that was the Fassinu. Right. That was the Fassinu holding penalty.
They called it back. But Rodgers looked, I don't want to say he looked like he was 25, but he certainly looked a lot better than he looked 2 weeks ago.
He looked
what I mean?
athletic. He didn't look stiff.
Yeah. Look, Rodgers got his chip on his shoulder. I mean, let's be honest, he has to. I mean, especially, with the way it's played out. I mean, the Jet karma has engulfed him. We talk about this in a lot of ways. We saw what happened last year, the way it started this year. But, he's motivated to win. I mean, I do believe that. So, like I said, the quarterback plays better than it's been his years. I think he's thrown like 15 touchdowns already.
Yeah, right.
How many touchdown passes did Zach Wilson? Did he even throw? I don't even think he threw 10.
No. I mean,
that.
Evan was just telling me this. I didn't even realize it. He's third. He's tied for third in touchdown passes in the NFL.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I think it's 15-7 because he didn't throw any picks last night.
No, you're right.
So he's still a competent quarterback, and you can win with this guy. They just got to play better. They got to cut down the mistakes.
Yep.
Like I said, they got away with a lot of bad penalties last night, and you can't continue to have that happen. You just can't.
You can't have the trifecta of running into the kicker.
Yep.
You can't have the penalty on the field goal. And I know those things ended up working out, which
but
I guess
lucky.
They got lucky.
Right.
And maybe
Right.
that's a sign of the karma changing.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But you can't make those dumb mistakes.
Yeah.
What did you think? So the Garrett Wilson, the first one was amazing, too. It doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah.
But the second one is being compared to Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on the Garrett Wilson catch and where that ranks as far as great catches you've ever seen?
Well, it's up there. I mean, I think it's very comparable to Odell Beckham, 10 years ago against the Cowboys. I mean, not only making the catch, but the fact that he somehow stayed in bounds. I mean, it was but I think
that was by accident, though, Joe.
You think he just got lucky on that? Is that what you think?
I do, because he wasn't consciously trying to get his other foot down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just kind of got lucky his shin went down.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Look, I mean, it was such a great play. I mean, it should have been a touchdown. It would have been a crime if it did not count.
Yeah, if that play disappeared from history, that would suck. That would have sucked.
Yeah. That's one of the great catches. Look, the kid is a tremendous player, and he's getting better and better. He's the one guy of the big three they drafted, and Jermaine Johnson's hurt, you could say, four in that one big draft, so he's not playing right now. But of the big three, Wilson, Gardner, and Hall, he's playing by far the best. By far the best.
Yeah,
Garrett
and
Wilson.
you've seen it evolve over the year. You knew that I guess we kind of assumed that what they were messing around with, Aaron and Garrett Wilson, was kind of fake news. But
when they were yelling at each other?
Yeah, but I think it was actually real. I think it was Aaron trying to get him on the right page with him, and Garrett being young, not really understanding what he was asking. So they were growing pains early in the season. It doesn't feel like that anymore. Feels like they're much more in contact with one another.
And don't you love Rodgers? I tell you, I got to say this, too, because he looks like me when he throws a bad pass or when somebody drops him. You know what I mean?
You're
like,
so disgusted.
You can see he's just like totally disgusted. Are you kidding me? He didn't catch this ball?
And he did
or
that,
I made this crummy throw?
He did that to Devontae.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Pass.
He definitely did.
What the hell, man?
He definitely did. Devontae's a terrific player. What an addition to this team, as far as I'm concerned. That's why, I have a little hope that look, I can't tell you they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they will, but at least have a little hope that we get, some semblance of a season with 8 games to go.
Don't you have? I have this sinking feeling, and maybe I've been beaten up too much now, and maybe you agree with me, or maybe you'll be more hopeful than me, that they're going to go on a run. Yeah, they'll win a few games. They're going to suck us in, and then those last 2 weeks against Buffalo and Miami. Then we'll get our typical BS comeuppance.
Why are you being negative, Evan?
Why?
Well, you know what, Ev? Why even look at it that way? I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it as the next game. That's it. Go win the next game.
That's the healthy way to look at it. You're right.
No, I'm not getting crazy because I'm not expecting them to come back and, go 10-7 or run the table and go 11-6. I mean, I don't see that's not happening.
Right.
So I'm just trying to take it one game at a time. They're going to have a tough game next week in Arizona. Thank God it's not a night game. We actually get a decent 4:25 start if the weather stays like it is. By the way, I heard you talk about the weather. And you know how I am with the weather.
Yeah.
The weather in September and October this year, is probably the best weather I can remember in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been,
Agreed.
Especially October. Played a lot of golf. We played today. It was like 80 degrees today. The only problem today, Teeth, the wind was a big factor.
Yeah, it was bad out today. But it wasn't cold wind.
Oh, no,
Usually when the wind in this time of year kicks up, you feel like this chill and you got to go get a jacket.
Yeah.
You were fine in a T-shirt today.
Well, I was playing. Yeah, I played in regular golf shirt. And no, I had long pants on, but regular golf shirt. The only problem, and like you said, the wind was blowing, but it was warm. I mean, you never felt chilled at all. It wasn't too great when you're trying to putt and the leaves. Now here it is, Teak. The leaves are flying by you.
That's the terrible thing about fall golf.
Yep. Yep.
It's not even even if the wind's not blowing, you hit your ball in the leaves, you can't find it.
You can't find it.
It's
you
terrible.
can't find it. I had a couple balls like that today. It's very aggravating, especially when you hit the ball good.
Yeah.
You say to yourself, man, this ball can't be lost.
Right.
And then you got this massive amount of leaves, or even one leaf. All it takes is one leaf to be on top of the ball, and
true.
you can't find it,
Yeah. No, you're right, though. The weather has been the best I ever remember it.
Yeah.
Last night, I didn't go. Were you there last night?
No, I'm not going Halloween.
I can't either.
That's not a night for me to go.
No, I'm totally with you. But they were very loud. Sell the team chants at Woody Johnson. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I could hear some kind of chant on TV, but I couldn't tell. And then I read about it in the paper today. I mean, look, the fans are fed up. Woody's been a bad owner. I mean, say whatever you want. Well, let's be honest. I mean, there's things about Woody I like, okay, that have nothing to do with football. But as far as an owner is concerned, he's bad.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here? I mean, what's left? I mean, there's nothing left to do this year. You're not bringing, even if you wanted to bring Rex in, you can't do that now. We talked about it. Or any guy now, it's going to be at the end of the year. So, look, I understand. Look, we're going on 14 years without a playoff spot, the longest in North American sports.
That's the streak that's starting to bother me more than anything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's even 9 years without a winning season, bro.
Like it's
2015, the last time we had a winning season.
Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I look back at growing up as a Jet fan. I was kind of spoiled. Like, we would be in the playoffs every couple of years.
Yeah.
This is a joke what this franchise has been for a decade and a half.
Yeah, no, it's been horrible. I mean, so many bad decisions. They never picked the right quarterback. And it makes you even crazier when you see guys like Geno Smith and Donald actually doing well, and I'm not knocking them because sometimes quarterbacks a lot of times develop very late. Until
most of them do, by the way, Joe.
Most of them. That's right.
I'm just telling you, most of them take some time.
That's why I want to see Rodgers back next year, if for no other reason than so we can draft a young quarterback. Chances are going to have a relatively high pick. Hopefully not, but I wouldn't doubt it. And you have this guy. Be tutored by Rodgers. This is a different deal than when they drafted Jordan Love.
Yeah.
It's a different situation for Rodgers.
Aaron's not winning MVP.
Well,
right.
And you would think he would understand it. At 41 years old with the team
think he would.
Probably coming off a bad year and having a high pick where he'd say, you know what, guys, this time I get it.
Right.
Yeah. And you'd get a different attitude from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his attitude is good. The only thing I didn't hear what he said after the game. I wanted to. I couldn't. I was getting tired. I couldn't hang in there.
He was good.
Anymore.
Like, he criticized himself for the way he played in the first half. Like, he holds himself accountable, which I do appreciate because don't insult our intelligence. He was terrible in the first half.
Yeah,
and
terrible.
I think him admitting that is important.
By the way, what is this, Tika, using his stuff? Cayenne pepper or something?
I have never heard of that.
Right?
And
what is it? Does he drink this? What does he put it in water? What does he do, this guy?
It's probably a blood pressure thing. That's what would be my guess.
Maybe I should use it for my golf game.
Like it just helps you. It helps you open up your capillaries and what. I have no idea what the scientific reason is, but whatever works, it works.
Hey,
whatever works,
whatever gets it done. Yep. Joe, I ask you this because I think this is now a fair time to have this discussion. November 1st, the Yankees are done.
Yep.
The Mets are done. Do you think Juan Soto is going to be a Met or Yankee next year?
I think he'll be one of them. I think he'll be playing in New York one way or the other. I still think he's probably going to stay with the Yankees. But look, I mean, you heard what he said after the series was over. I mean, he's open to every team. I mean, he said that. So, and I'm sure Boros is teaching him that way too. But if I'm Soto, I'm open to anybody. And the one thing that we got to see, Uncle Stevie, cannot be outbid for him. That's how I look at it. You got to give me the biggest bid for Soto. And we'll see what happens.
I completely agree. And for the Yankee fans, I think they feel the same way about Hal as they should. They should not be outbid. But as a Met fan, this is why Steve Cohen is here.
That's right.
To get the generational baseball player who's 25 years old in the prime of his career. And it doesn't matter that he's a Yankee. He could have been a Dodger. He could have still been a National. This is the guy you open up the checkbook for. And I admit, I'd be very disappointed if the Mets are not the highest bidder.
And Joe, it feels like there's a lot more billionaires as owners right now, and the money seems different than it has in a really long time. And I wonder how long this takes. Right, there has been some seasons over the last few years where it's just like nobody's signing free agents.
Right, you're into spring training already, and these guys aren't signing.
Right, I mean, one of those years they had. Maybe that was the COVID year where they had like their own training, like the spring training for the unsigned guys. Remember that?
That was the lockout year. A couple years ago.
That was the lockout year, not whatever it was.
Yeah.
How quickly do you think this gets done with Juan Soto.
It's going to be a while. I mean, the only way it gets done fast is if the Yankees sign him, and I don't know. I don't know what that number would be. I mean, but and because what's the period now, Ev? So can't you sign your own player for a period of time?
You can sign your own guys right now.
Yep.
Teams can start offering money in 4 days. It's 5 days after the World Series. Obviously, we passed the day. So the free agency is going to begin in 5 days. But I'll tell you this, and I hope I'm right. I think he's signing by early December because I don't think he needs to wait. He's the king of free agency.
He is.
He just sits there and says, all right, let's hear your best offers. And then he makes a decision, and that's it.
Is there any way that that we sign Soto and keep Pete? Do you think that's possible at all?
I think it's possible, but I got to tell you, and I love Pete. I really do. Yeah. I hope he's back.
Of course.
If they sign Juan Soto, I will understand and be okay with Pete not being here.
Yes. Yeah. No. I know. Yeah. No. You would have to. I mean, I love Pete too. But he's a homegrown Met. You will never forget the home run in Milwaukee.
No doubt.
It's one of the great moments we've had as Met fans, certainly in the last number of years. But if you're going to sign Soto, you can't cry if Pete leaves.
Totally get it.
Do?
Indeed. Joe, have a great weekend, man. Good talking to you, pal.
All right, guys. All the love.
Be good, man.
Be well. See you.
Great Joe Benigno, finally off a Jet victory. It's been a while.
It's November. It's November 1st, and he's playing golf. He's got to be loving life.
He is loving life.
I'm serious.
This weather has been interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
It's a little too warm for my liking, but I understand the excitement.